Howdy, my name is Ben Prince. As a small child I was called Benny, and I'm starting this video series hopefully to, partially for self-promotion, partially and mostly I would hope to help people that stutter, have stuttered, speak better, to basically not show them, but not show you so much, but explain to you how I feel I got over, quote, or how I am in the process still after these many years of getting over stuttering, and perhaps some of the ideas that I have or some of the methods that I use to get over, I don't want to use the word get over because it's still there. It's kind of like, I kind of compare it to Alcoholics Anonymous in some ways, that, or how I imagine it is, whatever, that, you know, if you have been scarred, like I was scarred basically in my youth by stuttering and all the accompanying feelings and the facial grimaces that I developed, and just how badly I felt about myself. I think that once a person is scarred like that they are stutterers for life, and it's just a question of how well are you coping today, how well are you able to speak from day to day. Anyways, I'm hoping that if you spend a few hours over whatever amount of time you want listening to the series of videos that I hope to develop, that I hope that you will, your speech will improve, okay? And this is not a question at all of trying to have you repeat words or pronounce words. If your difficulties in speech lie along the line of that you're not able to pronounce words, or maybe you have auditory problems or issues, or if that is your quote form of stuttering, so to speak, I'm not sure I don't think I can be much help. Mine is more of if you are able on your own, when you are on your own, if you can talk perfectly well, and there's nothing wrong with your voice, nothing really majorly wrong with your hearing, then it's a question of being surrounded by others, or when you're interacting with others. If you're in a lineup and you're at the end of the line, it's your turn to talk, but then you have difficulty speaking. You're called upon in class and you just can't get your words out. It's like your voice is just, stuck due to this, I don't know how to describe it. But I will try to describe it in different ways, and probably I'll come up with some good descriptions along the way. I'm not trying to have you hang on to watch whole huge amounts of time of series. This is just an introduction. I'm explaining who I am, what I feel I've gone through. I'm going to talk a bit more about myself, just in general. Now, the few things you see behind me represent me quite well in a way. Not that the clock necessarily does, but okay. I have my desktop computer. I'm still kind of an old school guy. I have a Dell T3500 computer, and the one in the background is actually just a spare one. The one I use myself, I have 4 screens attached. I have a computer background. I did computer programming for a number of years. The poster behind me is a very important and relevant, very relevant to me. It's a poster of Rolduc. Now, Rolduc is a seminary, or it used to be a seminary. It was built around a church that was, I think, built in 1106. I'll have to look up the exact date. It's built around this old church, where first in early 1100s this church is built, and then this complex of buildings is built in, around it as the centuries passed. And it was a seminary. And when I went there, I only went there for 1 year. I went there as a boarding school student to Rolduc Gymnasium in Kerkrade, or Kerkrade, Holland. And it was quite a privilege for me to go there, even that 1 year. And the book that I wrote about stuttering is basically my recollections of that year and the events leading up to it, and not much after it. But basically it was a book about my growing awareness that I did stutter, and the effect it had on others, the effect it had on me, how I dealt with it, how I coped with it at that point. But really, the actual, and even though it is a good, it has some. I feel it has some insight, especially for stutterers. I think that what I've done, or how I've changed my attitude since then. And just in case you only have, even I'm stretching it now, I see the timer at 6 minutes. Perhaps you don't have any more time to listen to all this stuff. Basically, if you stutter for the reasons I stuttered, you care too much. You care too much about other people, what they think of you, the effect you have on them, the delay you're making for them by stuttering, you feel badly that they might think less of you, that, oh, who is this stuttery person, who, that they won't accept you, they won't like you, they think that you're some sort of, I express it very well in my book, that you're some, you have some sort of form of leprosy, in a sense that is apparent as soon as you open your mouth. Well, basically what it comes down to, and I'm still, and it's, I'm well into my 50s now, that I still care too much. I still care way too much about what people think of me and the delay that I might have on others, but it is far, far less. And to the extent that it's less, you're helping yourself not to be less caring of others, not to be less empathetic towards others' feelings, but that there has to be, well, it has to be, but I feel that it's your own benefit if there's a balance between caring for others and caring for yourself. And in a sense, having to care a little bit less for others, okay? There are going to be times as you go through this, I'm not saying it's a process that you will go through by listening to this stuff, I'm just saying a process in life. Let's say that you adopt a philosophy of, okay, I'm not going to care as much about others. Well, day to day, things will change, and you're going to be waiting in line, and perhaps your heart is thumping because the line is going to come to an end. It's going to be your turn at the at whatever, at the bank tellers or at the at the license bureau or whatever. It's your turn to talk. You're called on in class. All of a sudden, the focus is all on you, and you can't talk. And as you go, and as you care a little bit less about those few extra seconds that it might take, or that a person might not judge you well, or think that you are, have some horrid disease, or holding them up, or whatever. You have to care less about them and more about yourself, and say, it might take me a few extra seconds, and so what? And so what? So I'm trying to stay objective with this video, but my emotions are really heavily connected to this topic, so unfortunately my eyes will be glossing over here or there, but I'm trying to basically say, you got to care a little bit less about others. It's not going to kill them if they have to wait for you for a couple of seconds, if you have to stumble over a few words. And if your answer in class doesn't go as well, and if it doesn't show everything that you know, that's too bad as well. And and by having that attitude and having it long enough and continuously enough, it actually becomes, it's like worrying about people becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of stuttering, and worrying less about them becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of that since you don't care, the speech will kind of becomes better, because what does it matter if it's not as smooth? Okay? Now, anyways, I think that introduction is long enough. We're coming up on 10 minutes. I'm not sure what my next video part is going to be. Maybe I'll read the introduction to my book. Maybe I'll all I know is I'm, quote, ready to, quote, share my secrets, if you call it that. And again, I'm just doing this because I feel like doing it. I did write a book. It took me a few years to write and recorrect and correct, but it's mostly memories. But it does have some stuff about stuttering and how I dealt with it. And I'd like people to read the book because I spent a lot of time writing it, and I feel it has some insight. But my reason is not to push books or to make money, but it is to inform people and hopefully help them become better. People that stutter, help them become better speakers. And if I become well known along the way doing that, that is great too. I accept that, and I'll be willing to, to speak, so to speak, to speak in front of audiences even. Not polished necessarily, but what I'm doing now isn't polished. This is just, I'm running, this is just from my heart. I'm running through it. It's not perfect. I know I probably wouldn't mind redoing it 10 times, but you know what? This is the introduction. I hope that you, well, at this point I haven't made any more, but I hope that you listen to more videos. And if you want to give me some feedback, especially if it may have helped you, and thanks for listening. Okay.